Hello again, I am Blunty. This, of course, is the Quest 3, and you know that already because the title of this video probably includes that name of the product in it because this video is all about it. So introducing it like that seems a bit redundant now that I think about it out loud, but it's too late. I'm on a roll. So about a month ago, just under a month ago now, I guess, I made a video about this, about the issues with the microphone, and people were very sort of confused about why the microphone was sounding so bad for some people and okay for other people and fine for others and middling for some other. It was a lot of variance in the microphone, and some of that has to do with probably a little bit of quality control. I don't know. It's been really tough to narrow it down, but I did some personal testing trying to find out where the microphone was, because a lot of people thought it was right in the front there, and it's not. There is a microphone there, but that's a secondary microphone to pick up room noise, to help do some noise cancellation. So the other microphone that picks up your voice, or microphones, two of them actually, as I've now found. Yeah, so that's there just to pick up noise cancelling stuff. This is not the microphone that listens for your voice, because obviously it's facing the front. And I said that in the original video, that would be a weird place to put a microphone that's supposed to listen to your voice. So I did some testing, and you know, I had the thing on, and I was having live feedback from the microphone coming through my computer speakers, and I'm huffing and puffing on it, trying to find out where the microphone is. And in my original video, I was like, oh, it's underneath those pogo pins, because if you look real close, they got wee little dots in the middle of them, and I thought that was holes, and there was a microphone underneath, and I thought that was a really, really weird place to put a microphone. But every time I blew right there, that's where I would get the huffing, and I thought, well, they must be back there. They must have tucked it back there for some size or space-saving reasons or whatever, but whatever. So I took a bit of microphone foam and taped it over that, and tested to see if the huffiness was decreased. And it was a little bit, but I was kind of tricked by that. I kept thinking about that and how weird it was that they would put the microphone underneath the pogo pins, and how impractical it was for anyone to use, a bit of microphone foam over the top of it, because that if you're using the dock, that means you can't use the dock anymore, obviously, impractical, which was a bit sad, but not a deal breaker. But I've continued to fiddle around with this on and off for the past few weeks, because I just wasn't really satisfied with, my solution not being a foolproof and consistent solution. So I've been fiddling back and forth with different ideas about how to cut back on the amount of huffing in particular that a lot of people are suffering with this microphone. One thing that did work is just wearing a mask, just, one of those old-fashioned masks we wore for a few years back. Of course, that stops all the huffiness of the air coming out of your mouth, but it's not terribly comfortable to wear a mask where you're playing VR a lot of the time. And it does muffle your voice slightly, which I think we're all familiar with how that sounds. And shortly after I did that video, there was an iFixit teardown of this. So I looked real carefully at their teardown video, but I couldn't see any mics where I thought there would be mics. They didn't really focus on the faceplate. They didn't really focus on much of the electronics. They just took the thing apart and complained about how many screws there were and what the battery was and all that sort of stuff. But it was a very incomplete teardown, frankly, and I'm used to a lot more detail from iFixit. I think they just rushed it and just needed to get something out there as quickly as possible, because the Quest 3 was a lot of people's search terms and stuff, which was a little bit disappointing. They pulled the whole faceplate off, but they didn't actually tear down anything that was on the faceplate. And that's where the microphones are, as it turns out. And I did spot them when I went looking through their site again, because I was scrubbing through the video trying to spot them, because they never mentioned them. They said the word microphone once in their entire video, but I couldn't see them anywhere. But they did have a CT scan of this thing, an animation of it rotating around X-ray, I guess. X-ray or CT scan, one or the other. And I was taking a close look at that, and I did spot something familiar. These right here, those look exactly like MEMS microphone, and MEMS is a particular type of microphone technology. Apple use them in their little earpods and stuff, for example. Doesn't really matter what MEMS stands for or anything. That serves no practical purpose for you and I. It's a good microphone technology for stuff like this, basically. But in that CT scan, I did spot them, and they're right there aroundabouts. Now, my original microphone video where I talked about this, I thought, well, that'd be a really weird place to put a microphone, in the seam around the faceplate, because that's an air intake for the cooling, which blows air out the top of this thing. Which, by the way, don't throw this thing upside down on your bed, because if it doesn't power itself off automatically, it will overheat on you. A few people have found that out over the past few weeks. You got to have that vent free, because that's where all the hot air gets pushed out. And I thought, microphones down there would be a silly idea, because it'd be sucking air through there. Turns out they are there. So when I was blowing my way around trying to find where the microphone is, and I got huffiness right here, it was actually because some of the air was going into that seam. And how I tracked that down was I was using my little bulb here, which I use for cleaning my camera lenses and also my glasses lenses, you know, just to blow the detritus off the lens before you use a cloth on it, so you don't scratch it up with whatever shit is lying on the lens, you know. You do blow your lenses clean before you wipe them with your microfiber cloths, don't you? You should. So yeah, I was sort of taking this all around everything, and there's a couple of little holes in the gaps underneath the nose plate here, and I thought, oh, well, they might be there, so I was doing this, and nothing there. So I was going around and around, and yeah, I eventually found sort of two sweet spots where I could get huffiness. Just through all of this line here, basically. So then, what I thought I would try is, well, that's the seam. I could press fit some microphone foam into that, and I might get away with fixing the issue of the huffiness at least. So that's what I did. I first sort of pressed it into the sides here and left the middle sort of floating, and that helped a little bit. And then I sort of took my knife and sort of pressed it, microphone foam, into that seam to sort of, you know, just it'll get a little clutch fit all the way across there. I didn't want to compact it too much because the whole idea of this foam is it's transparent sound frequency, so you don't want to compress it too much because that will start blocking the sound. So I was compressing it as little as possible into that gap. But it turns out once I got that done all the way across, relatively gently, but firmly enough to keep it in place, it made a difference.
Sibilance, sibilance. Sally Struthers sibilance. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Sibilance, sibilance. Sally Struthers sibilance. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Sibilance, sibilance. Sally Struthers sibilance.
But yeah, it took out a lot of that huffiness, so that's the solution. You can DIY your own. Again, I'll put links in the down below for some microphone foam you can buy and just chop up yourself and do that. But what I would like to see is some DIY people out there, maybe some sort of 3D printed clip we could snap on there that you could put microphone foam in, like a little frame, and just clip it in to the sides there or something, or maybe some sort of magnetic attachment. I haven't fiddled with any of that myself yet. I don't have a 3D printer these days or anything like that, and I have a very limited array of tools to mess around with stuff like that. But now that I've found where the solution needs to be applied and the solution that works, I'll leave it in the hands of you hobbyists out there with your 3D printers and your little, you know, home workshops and stuff to figure out a good solution for that we can maybe share amongst the community. But that's where the microphones are, by the way. And yeah, smooshing a little bit of foam into that seam is a stopgap fix for the issue with that microphone a lot of people are having. So hopefully this video has been helpful, informative, useful. I was just playing around with it this morning and finally tracked it down after a lot of fiddling and crap. So again, hopefully this has been useful to people out there in heading towards a proper solution for matters engineering shittiness. Just shit. Stupid way to do microphones on these things. And again, if any Matter engineers just happen to be lurking around, looking at videos, seeing what people are saying about their engineering work, to talk to your bosses, maybe allow us to hook up Bluetooth microphones to this thing, for example, or maybe just USB microphones, because that works for audio out, but not audio in. Why? Why won't you let us use our own microphones? Fuckers. Thanks for watching. I'm Blunty. I'll catch you next time. Thank you as always to the patrons scrolling up above there. And yeah, I'm going to smoosh this back in there and get back into VR for the rest of the day and sort of chill out, because I've been having a rough couple of weeks. I just need to chill. Going into VR chat. Just going to hang out and lurk and listen to people have fun. Sit in the corner, all quiet. Oh, bloody, oh.